Hi Libra, welcome to your reading. Well, the cards are already out. Ace of Swords, the Chariot, and the Eight of Wands. Okay, so you have the chance to reevaluate, reignite, redo a relationship if you'd like to. If you want to step into your role as the mother, the authority figure in the house, you have the chance. And if you want to, you can move very quickly towards a resolution you will like. You also have just as much opportunity to walk away because you want something better, and perhaps because you cannot forgive what has happened in the past. It's up to you. Really, the scale tips either way, the way you want it to tip this month. So, what will Libra do? Well, along with reinventing your relationship, you also have a chance to bring in a new source of income. Now, let's not take for granted that getting rid of a miserable situation and taking a risk isn't tied to this Wheel of Fortune. Everything is tied together. Wherever you have allowed mediocrity, there May pushes you to re-examine. Also, if there have been any infidelities and you still want to make it work, the full moon coming up might make that very difficult, because it's going to give you information that you wish you didn't have. If you'd like to work on a relationship that has made you extremely sad and very brokenhearted, don't ask about the past. Because what you're going to find out is that the stuff you were upset about is very little compared to what there actually is to be upset about. So if you want to start new, then start new. Leave it behind. Don't ask anymore. Don't ask for the details. Don't care. I know that's hard to do, but that's only if you want to stay in a situation where you feel you've been wronged and you want to make it work. If you don't, if you feel like it's enough, if you get to the Scorpio full moon and you're thinking, I just don't want to do this. I'm miserable, and I've been miserable, and I don't think it's going to get any better, then this is the month to get out. It's a new way of thinking that's required now. You've got to figure out what your new role is. What do you want it to be? Who are you now? And how much are you willing to forgive to keep being this new person? How much are you willing to cut off to keep being this new person? How much of your life path up until now has been determined by who your partner was and how they were treating you? Taurus season can be a bit of a harsh lesson. And for you, the lesson really is, if you want to make it work, it's gonna take a lot of work, and it's probably not gonna clear up until September. If you don't want to make it work, you can walk away clean and have new opportunities coming in right away. So if you want to make it work, it's a labor of love. Which, of course, I understand that. If you love someone, and if you have, you have a family with them, you have whatever bond that you feel you just can't break, then just prepare yourself for some emotionally rocky times. Prepare yourself to learn things you don't want to know and work through them. Have faith in that connection. But if you feel like you've done it enough, if you feel like at this point it becomes about your integrity as a person, if you feel like there's been too much sadness, Taurus season is the season to let it go. And then you can put all that hard work into something that will actually give you something back. See, the thing about a labor of love is it only works if it's love, not if it's codependency. We don't want to mistake our flaw in loving the wrong people as loyalty. We don't want to mistake our need for people as love. We just want to be careful with those words, because those words to a Libra obligate them. So don't hold yourself to words that may not even be true and then make yourself jump through these fiery hoops for no reason, for people who aren't worth it, for situations, for jobs that aren't worth it, for family dynamics that aren't worth it. It's a period of reevaluation and putting yourself in the desired role, whatever that is for you. You're here to say, okay, that's what I want to be now. And according to the person I want to be now, these dynamics don't work for me. Sorry. And that's okay, because it's pretty obvious there's been too much pain. 8 of Wands to 8 of Swords, 3 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles. You know, there's great cards and there's super sad cards. Like I said, the scale tips either way. Depends on which way you want it to go. And a lot of Libras are out there saying, well, it's always like that. No, it's not. No, it's not. Some seasons, the scale is tipped for you. In Taurus season, you have a choice. You can choose what you feel like for the next 6 months. You can choose what gets rooted up out of the ground and thrown away and what gets planted. You can choose which one of these feelings you will allow to grow in your life. Up until now, it's been, well, what about these people and what about them and what about this? No, it's not about that. It's about you. It's about how much more can you possibly be asked to take of this. Might just be loneliness. The worst is when you're lonely when you're already with someone. That's the worst. But if you're not with someone, you could still be going through this because you're thinking about something that's happened in the past and you still haven't let go of it, even though they're not even there anymore. Either way, it's time to decide which side is heavier. Which way does the scale tip? It really is up to you. Don't let your insecurities choose. Choose with self-awareness. Choose based on putting yourself first. Let's look at these cards, huh? Love you.
Hi Libra, welcome to the second part of your reading. It's much easier when you can see it all laid out, huh? Let's start from the beginning. Ace of Swords. It's either cutting somebody off or it's a new idea. It's a new direction that you want to take your life in. It's a new way of thinking. If you've decided, after much contemplation over the past few months, that what you want to do is assume this leadership role, the mother leadership role, which means that you take a lot of abuse, but also you have all the power. if you want to take that role, if you've decided to take that role, things move pretty quickly in that direction. If you've decided that actually, you know what, you can't do that. You don't want to take responsibility for things that really are mainly about cleaning up somebody else's mess, another very mom quality, a very Cancerian quality. If that's just not you and you just can't do it, then there's a leaving. So it's one or the other. You're either taking all the responsibility or you're taking none. Now, the deciding factors are, of course, your heart. The connection you thought you had or the connection you insist on reinforcing. Either way, it's your choice, but those choices have very serious consequences. If you choose to persist, it will get harder before it will get easier. If you choose to leave, it takes so much from you. Nerve. It takes so much nerve that you may experience a very lonely time afterward, even though you did the right thing. So, regardless of how this scale tips, there is that potential for feeling alone. That's what a lot of these cards are about. They're about loneliness. This is the loneliness that you feel when you're already with someone. This is the loneliness you feel when your mind won't let up, won't stop beating you up. This is the loneliness you feel when you know that you want to stay in something, but you just can't. And of course, the lonely card, that's the loneliness of, well, not knowing what to do and feeling like no one can help you. Well, hopefully this reading helps, because as you can see, it's all about a choice. Just one choice, but it's a really big one. It will define the rest of your year, and not to be hyperbolic, perhaps a large part of your life. Because ultimately, this isn't about just choosing a role. It's about choosing a role based on what you think of you. Now, if you do want to assume responsibility for others' actions and absolve them of any responsibility for themselves, great. It's a hard road to walk, though. A lonely one. Because everything gets put on you. Now, instead, if you decide that that is not your job and that you would rather shun that role and go find something real, or perhaps in cases where you are a parent and have children, you want to take your kids with, you just want to get out of the situation clean, then there is the very real possibility that you may be lonely and isolated for a while. That doesn't make it the wrong choice, though. So regardless of if you want to stick it out, be it a job, a lover, a spouse, a sibling, regardless of how much you want to make it work and you want to stick it out, and regardless of how long you felt like you just haven't had your freedom, doesn't matter. Either way, there is a choice to be made and a risk to be taken and a wheel to be spun. If you'd like to wait to make those decisions until the Scorpio full moon, I applaud it. I think that's a very good idea. For you to communicate exactly what you want, first you have to know what you want. That's also why the scale tips back and forth, especially when traumatized. Libras, I would argue, are one of the signs that suffers the most emotional abuse from partners, because once a partner figures out that you're going to vacillate back and forth, they can manipulate each sides of the scale as they like. And you may find yourself there right now, which is why I'm saying there is a decision to be made. And past that decision, there are also people that need to be cut out. That Ace of Swords is first for a reason, because that sword needs to be wielded now in many, many different ways. New ideas, new life, sure. but also a remembering of the old ideas and the old life and the people who didn't believe in you. So, love or loneliness? Freedom or the misery associated with being with the wrong person? It's up to you. Again, if you believe it is the right person and you want to stick it out, then just know that the next 6-7 months are very difficult for you. Especially the more and more info that comes out. Will you find a way back to each other after that? Yes, I think so. But the patient has to survive the cure. So if you're dragging, right? If you're being dragged through the process, by the time you get to a place where you could maybe try again and maybe forgive or do, you're not there anymore. I mean, realistically, Libra, how much can we do this? How much can we allow somebody to press the buttons to do this? To do this, to do this. Have you ever considered that perhaps it is not the other person's stupidity, but that it's contrived? It's meant to do that. Interesting. All right, we'll go through the deck and the extended, and we'll take a look at it, and we'll figure it out. I love you lots. Personal recorded readings, the link is below. The recorded reading is sent to you. The Chatalized link where you can do one-on-one live video chat readings with me is below as well. The instant extended sends the extended straight to your email, and Vimeo extended is the same extended, but you log into Vimeo and you can watch it there. Both are available to watch again and again. All right, Libra. Love you. I'll see you in a second.